the Xeno series is my favorite franchise in all of media. 3 of the games are in my top 10 of all time. I love it to absolute bits, and I could make tons of videos on why I do. But it's not exactly known for its bosses. Sure, it's got some highlights. Metalface, Dora, Amalthus, and Malus are all amazing and memorable bosses. Hell, Malus is one of my favorite final bosses in any game. He was really, really close to the top when I was originally coming up with the idea for this video. But then, I remembered this clip. Alright. What the fuck? Hi, I'm Aiden, and Moebius M Unleashed, Legat Prison from Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Chapter 5 is my favorite boss fight in the series. I think that this boss fight serves as a genius setup for what's to come, an amazing set piece, and it's just really fun. But first, what actually makes a good boss? I think it comes down to 3 main things: significance, music, and as I mentioned before, how fun they are. I've found a lot of bosses who don't have all 3, but still stick in my mind for ages afterwards because they excelled at one of them. Like for example, all of Sonic Frontiers bosses. I wouldn't necessarily be thrilled to replay any of them really, but I remember them because of how much of an insane thrill ride they are, accompanied by some of the best music in the entire series. This boss, however, this boss passes all 3 with the brightest flying colors. Oh yeah, by the way, spoilers for the entirety of Xenoblade 3 from here on out. I guess I'll start with significance. In terms of that, I'd honestly say this is the most important boss in the entire game outside of the final one. Let me set the scene. Ouroboros has been rescued by the Lost Numbers in the last chapter. Monica says, "Hey, go break my daughter out of prison, please. She knows what the Queen is. It'll be a big help." And Ouroboros is just like, "Okay, sure." You get there and encounter the most Australian person to ever exist, Gondor Van Dam. Gondor doesn't want to be broken out of prison because, in her own words, her mother is a
bitch queen. Bitch queen, bitch queen, bitch queen, bitch queen, bitch queen, bitch queen. Why else would the bitch queen even send you?
Why do you keep calling Monica that? She's your mother.
I'll call her whatever the hell I like.
Also, something, the trolley problem. But Mio gives a rousing speech about how soon she is to death and how lucky Gondor is to have that much time, and she's like, "Right, fair enough, cunts, let's get the fuck out of here." I'm really dicking on this for no reason. This is one of my favorite scenes in the game. So 3 days later, everyone breaks out, but are betrayed by the most obviously evil bastard in the game, Shania. And waiting right there with her is Moebius N and M. N has been built up through the entire game as the most overpowered edgy anime boy of all time. He's like a Reaper intent on completely shredding you. He uses the same vibes as Metalix from Super Mario Bros. Z or Death from Puss in Boots. Whenever he is on screen, the cast is genuinely in danger. Every single time, Ouroboros barely gets away from him due to the city or some other form of luck. But now, luck has run out. N, his wife, and his mind-controlled cronies are here. And after like 60 or so hours of barely leaving with their lives intact, the gang finally have to confront them. It's framed as possibly the last stand of the group we've come to love. The stakes are set. Noah gets Gondor and the prisoners to escape with the information of where the Queen is, and the confrontation begins. The prison section of this game is a little long for some people, myself included. Parts of it really just felt like filler. But ultimately, I really like this setup. Getting to the fight with N and M is entirely worth it. N, being the arrogant dick he is, tells the group it's hopeless to defeat him. Against these odds, there's no point. Noah, in his boundless optimism, responds with,
We will. For us to move forward, we must.
N draws his blade. But to everyone's surprise, it's M who begins the fight. This shocked me at first, but in retrospect, is genius. In this single shot, some of the best foreshadowing in the game is done. Remember this, it's very important, and I'll come back to this later. If you played the game, you probably already know why. So the fight begins, and this is where I get to talk about the music. This track is called Moebius Battle M, which becomes Moebius M Unleashed in Phase 2. Against every other member of Moebius, even against N later in this fight, the song playing has been Moebius Battle. This is just that phenomenal track, but with one very important change. A flute is played throughout. And dude, I can't get over how incredibly cool this is. I will, again, come back to this later, but for now, I'll leave it with that. This song is amazing. The first phase of M is good. She hits you with evil versions of arts from Mio's starting class, Zephyr. They don't do a lot, but they look cool with the purple effects. But then, she will use a move called Eclipse Soul, and for a bit of the boss fight, she just takes no damage. That's weird, you probably think. And then you take a bajillion damage again from Unity. Seriously, this happened again while I was gathering footage for this video. What the fuck? Anyways, the first phase ends, and it all makes sense. M lets out a purple flash, and Noah attacks Tyon. Everyone is extremely confused, but the others quickly figure it out. You see, in every encounter, the Moebius you fight has had some special ability. In the first phase, when she takes no damage for a bit, M is establishing a link with everyone in the party. And this fight rules, probably the single most well-animated fight in the game filled with amazing fight scene. In no short part of this incredible long tape. I've gone back and rewatched this so many fucking times. Now, back on track, Tyon, being the smart cookie he is, remembers his Mondo can detect who is the enemy at any time. And also, that the attacks thrown at who she's mind controlling actually affect M. And with that, Phase 2 begins. This phase consists of the attacks M threw at you in Phase 1, along with her taking over your teammates more frequently. This is such an ingenious idea for a Xenoblade boss. Having to quickly identify who M has taken over before they get to you first, because your attacks frequently do more damage than the bosses themselves.
What the fuck?
You also lose both the extra damage on M and the ability to control that party member. And it's all complemented with that amazing aforementioned track, Moebius M Unleashed. And man, I cannot wait to talk about that. Fuck the chain attack song for taking this away from me. Once you've taken her health bar down for the second time, the Reaper steps in. N is awesome. Overwhelming the party with stupidly strong sword strikes that frequently inflict statuses that quietly wither away at Ouroboros, which is fortunate because the gaps between his attacks can be quite long. But when they hit, they'll probably either kill or come very fucking close. Also, just as an aside, Shred the Stormman is one of the greatest names for an attack ever. Once you defeat N, you get a Xenoblade classic, defeating the boss, but getting your ass kicked in the cutscene. I've never really had an issue with this personally, but this is probably the greatest example of this in this series. N demolishes Ouroboros, like, it's not close. As he said, it's hopeless. This is the RPG equivalent of a squash match. He fucking breaks Santa's interlinked hammers with the hilt of his sword. The hilt! It's so cool. Then comes yet another one of my favorite scenes in the game. Sana and Lan's planning to do what Goku did and double suicide in the hopes of killing the bigger enemy. For a moment, this did trick me that they were done for. This was the end of the Mighty Weaklings. It's acted and directed that well. This entire encounter is really, I can't give it enough praise. But of course they're not. X interferes and everyone is thrown in jail, with Mio set to be executed. What an excellent confrontation, dude. But I haven't even gone over the biggest reason I love this boss. Not yet. I'm about to, though. Now seriously, if you are watching this video and haven't played Xenoblade Chronicles 3 yet, go do so. Please. This is probably the biggest spoiler in the entire game. I won't give you the whole spiel of, I'll wait and all that. If you don't mind that, fine. But if you do it all, go play Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and you can come back when you're done. Or don't, I don't really care. You won't regret it. It is my personal favorite game ever, and I can't recommend it enough. It's got an amazing world, my favorite cast in media history, one of the best soundtracks in any game, a phenomenal battle system, some of the best side content in any game, and an awesome story. Okay, I'm done spreading propaganda. Let's talk about the twist. This part wasn't originally in the script. I was re-recording footage for the prison scene just in case I needed it, and I didn't expect it just to emotionally affect me as much as it did the first time around. So I wanted to take a moment and just talk about how amazing of a scene this is. This doesn't have much relevance to the boss fight, but this is the end of Mio. This character we've come to know, love, and accept is maybe going to die actually does. The entire time everyone's in prison just desperately trying to do something about it is... it's... A step away still makes me cry, man. And then you get to the execution, the entire time you're waiting for someone to intervene, something to happen, but it just doesn't. And then end being the fucking prick he is...
Pick it up. You're an officer, so send her. What's wrong? Go on, send her. Isn't that your role? Isn't she your Mio?
It's a long cutscene, like Metal Gear Solid long. But it's gorgeously directed, one hell of a gut punch, and would have made a great end to her character. But it's not the end of her character. our Mio isn't the one who dies. Because for you see, in this shot that I mentioned earlier, M and Mio switched bodies. This was hinted at during the entire boss fight, but is subtle enough for you to not pick up on it until it's actually revealed. That's why she cries after this shot. It's not regret, it's her coming to terms with the fact that she has to hurt her friends, and the memory she inherited from M. That's why she looks so remorseful in every shot after the boss fight, and the most genius bit, it's why her battle music has a flute in it. M, as revealed in flashbacks, was a member of the Lost Numbers. She didn't play the flute. She was a soldier in a relationship with N. You know who does? Mio. She's an Opseer, and their main instrument is the flute. Even the last part of the battle music is a great hint of what's to come. When a boss is at low health, normally some triumphant last push music plays, but Moebius Battle M's final part is this melancholic tragic theme. This part relates more to M than Mio. It's filled with sorrow and regret, everything M feels after becoming Moebius. I hate that most people miss this due to the fucking chain attack music, but this is just such good shit, dude. The entire bosses, really, and that's why it's my favorite boss in Xenoblade. For its phenomenal music, its significance to the plot, its amazing mechanics, and its genius foreshadowing of what's to come. It might be too long for people, and I get that. The average time it takes to complete this segment is around an hour, but personally, I was glued to the edge of my seat for that entire period. Thanks for watching, everyone, and take care of yourself.